3 years have passed since Son Goku and his friends defeated the evil dragons. Far across the universe, unknown visitors head toward Earth. Today we are finally talking about a story that I've been wanting to make a video on for years now, and that is Dragon Ball New Age. Now, if you think that I already reviewed Dragon Ball New Age, guys, I reviewed the original Dragon Ball New Age, which only had a few chapters. I haven't touched the new released version. This is updated with new art, new storylines, a completely new feel. So let's go ahead and jump in it together and see what the story is all about. I love each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much for being here. We begin the story at Mr. Satan's house, and Mr. Satan has obviously aged since Dragon Ball Z's Buu Saga. This is obviously after Dragon Ball GT, and he is having a bunch of conferences, being the champ of the people. He's still as popular as ever, and he's in the middle of an interview. And the person that is giving him the interview is none other than Android 18 and Marin. Now, this is exactly kind of the design what I want for Marin when she gets older. I mean, I would like her to look a little bit more like Android 18 personally, but the fact that she's got like Krillin's eyes, it just makes sense. She's definitely like, it has a good aspects of a design for a character like this that's a mixture between Android 18 and Krillin. Now, Android 18 on the other hand is a complete and utter baddie. Like, she looks phenomenal. I'm not sure exactly why in Dragon Ball and even in the fan series we always go with having like aged women that are in their 40s having like short hair like this. Everybody seems to have it. Even Chilai has it, even though that, you know, she's not that old. But I think it works very well for Android 18, and I like that she is the one giving him the interview because it's like another way for her to squeeze some money out of him, essentially, in like a completely different way, because, you know, essentially Hercule is like her sugar daddy, like unofficial sugar daddy by extortion. This story is going to be taking place all around Earth, all around different cities, because everybody is in a completely different spot than they were originally in. I mean, we have Goten here in East City, and he's on a date with somebody that has never been to a movie theater. Now, I don't know if that's because maybe they're too young to go to a movie theater, or because this girl is from the country and has only seen movies at home, as she says. Not exactly sure what the situation is there, but as you can see, Goten looks like he's kind of wearing a jacket like Trunks here. There's a lot of emphasis on this girl really not knowing the ins and outs of like just going to the movie theaters, that I feel like she's a character that we should know. But it's Goten, and you would think that Goten, being the one that lives out in the country, he would be the one not really knowing anything about movie theaters. But even she right here is saying like, are we like underdressed? And she's like wearing like a really nice shirt. Goten's really like dressed up really nice, and so he's like, nah, we're fine. But it's like interesting why there's so much focus on the fact that I'm wondering who this girl actually is. I wonder if we're gonna get like an actual name for her. But this Goten design, this looks very similar to the original Gohan design. I made a video about it a long time ago. There was an original Gohan design that Akira Toriyama wanted to make for Gohan when he came back after the Cell arc, and this one looks very much like that. Actually, we go to Satan City where we see Orange Star High School. Now, I thought that Orange Star High School was in Orange City, but I could be 100% wrong on that. I think that they are right in the fact that this is Satan City, but we see some students arguing about whether there's going to be a quiz or not. And this is just a small introduction to get us into a conversation with Pan and see how Pan has grown after Dragon Ball GT. And this is by far one of the best renditions of an adult, or not adult, but teenage Pan. And I think the other one that I recall is the one from Dragon Ball Deliverance. I think that one's a pretty decent one. This one's more solid, I think, because this not only is a combination between Pan, the Pan that we saw in Dragon Ball GT. She kind of looks a little bit like Chi-Chi, to be honest, especially with the hair coming out the sides right next to her ears. But it's the outfit. Now, the outfit itself, remember, it's a school outfit, and she's wearing it the exact same way as Videl did back in Dragon Ball Z. So the design alone on Pan is a 10 out of 10. This is an amazing design by Malik Torihane, who is the creator of Dragon Ball New Age. Shout out. I'm gonna leave a link to his Twitter account in the description below in the top comment, but this is just top tier right here. I absolutely love this. And now we get to my man Trunks, who is not sporting the jacket that his future version was. Goten was sporting that. This Trunks seems to be a far more bigger shot in the Capsule Corporation company, to the point where he has his own sexy personal assistant. But this character right here, it looks like such a vast improvement over shoving Mai into Trunks' life. This is such a better improvement. I'm not saying that they're like together, these two characters, but I'm saying like this combination is just a much better combination in my own opinion. That this secretary or this assistant is actually benefiting from Trunks employing her, and Trunks is benefiting from her assistance. At the same time, it makes sense because it's a huge corporation, and we never really get into the logistics of it or the real life aspects of having the heir of Capsule Corporation, basically, you know, what his duties are. And the fact that his duties are working in the company, it's just such a huge step up from having him just wander around, do whatever the hell he wants to be, or become a superhero like Gohan. Oh, and I spoke not too soon, I think. I spoke in the right way, because it sounds like in this panel right here, it sounds in this part of the story that they are a little bit more than just, you know, yeah, it's a far more close relationship than just, you know, you're working for me. I mean, she may be working, and I mean, again, it's a great design for this character. I love the design. I love her hair. I love the assistant look. I like the fact that yeah, there's a little connection there, and Trunks is a little bit, you know, trying to pull the trigger on this and tell his mom about their relationship. I'm assuming that's what it's hinting at, but she's like, no, we gotta wait, because remember, she is working for him, so this could affect her career if Bulma doesn't take it the right way. And we cut to like what everybody else is doing, and it seems like Dende's off doing something. Maybe, you know, he's on New Namek or something, or he's on some sort of quest. I'm sure we're gonna find out exactly what he's up to this point, and I can't wait to see what his journey is up to this point, because he should be an adult by now. But Mr. Popo is not alone, because Piccolo is watching the lookout. So Piccolo is there, and I mean, he's doing the standard Piccolo stuff, which is meditation or just sleeping, I don't know. And of course, it would not be an introduction to a new Dragon Ball series if we did not see what was going on with Goku's family, specifically Chi-Chi, who sadly, I mean, she's singing, it seems like, or humming, but she seems like she's in a good mood, and she's obviously thinking to the sky, thinking about Goku and him leaving and everything like that, but she seems to be in good spirits. It's just kind of sad to me that this is like a real reality of Chi-Chi's future, where she will be alone essentially on that mountain. She doesn't want to really leave to go anywhere. She doesn't want to relocate. She likes living there, and so she's so far away from everybody else, and all her kids are gone, so she's by herself. And then Goku in Dragon Ball Super is off always doing something. Now he's a kid, and then you have, you know, in this, he's gone completely. So it is actually really sad to see, like, this is the state of where Chi-Chi's left off, but at the same time, it just makes sense, and if she's fine with it, I mean, we should be too. So for a minute, I saw this image, and I thought that we were gonna be getting, like, a look at Goku, and I'm just like, this looks exactly like Goku. Like, if you just saw this image right here, you would absolutely 110% believe that this is Goku, but it is not. It is actually Gohan, and Gohan is in the middle of a fight against Vegeta and Uub, a 1v2, except that Uub is not transformed and Vegeta is not transformed. It is just Gohan in his Super Saiyan 4 transformation, which makes sense. After Dragon Ball GT, Gohan should be the next in line. Just like Trunks is taking his role as being the heir to Capsule Corp seriously, Gohan, in my opinion, needs to take the role as Earth's protector seriously. Even though he didn't choose that path, he is built for it. He is 100% chosen for it. But they are tearing up the Supreme Kai's plan to the point where, like, the Supreme Kais are like, yo, this is a little bit too much, guys. Like, I invited you here to train, not to destroy and trash the place. Come on, man. But you get these godlike beings around each other and fighting. Of course it's gonna end up like this. It's gonna end up into like a complete battle royale, and everything's gonna be destroyed. I'll be completely honest, in this panel right here, this absolutely looks like Goku. So this could be Goku, and I could be wrong, remembering this wrong, but I thought Goku went off with the dragon. So I thought that this series didn't have Goku in it, but he's saying can't get rusty, and he wants to go with a power that is beyond Super Saiyan 4. So he's trying to find something on the next level, and something that more than likely will come in useful when it comes to the big bad of this series. So he's just 100% dedicated to find it. And Vegeta's the same way. It's almost like Vegeta was reading his mind. He's like, no, I will find it, because you can see in the top that Goku or Gohan, it's hard to tell here. He's the one thinking about this, and which is more likely Goku. And then Vegeta's like, no, I'm gonna find it. But then it cuts to Vegeta actually in his gravity chamber saying that him and Goku are equals now. So maybe he's thinking back on them training in the past. Maybe that's what it is, actually. So, like, again, I read these things along with you guys, the way that I review these, the way that I react to these. So all my reactions are 100% fresh, 100% valid. And so this is just coming off as he's thinking back on him training with Goku and Uub back on the Supreme Kai's planet. And he's now training. He's thinking about that while he's still training in the gravity chamber, and you know, and saying that he's the same level of strength. So now he needs to find something above that, because if not, Goku's going to find it. He knows Goku will find it. And this is where we get the recollection that it has been 3 years since the end of Dragon Ball GT. It has been 3 years of peace, and I am really glad that not everybody has lost their touch or has been like just chilling for the most part. We do get a few people like living their lives or whatever, but it seems like kind of like everyone's kind of on board. Like there's no slouches in the Dragon Ball world besides maybe Piccolo. Now Piccolo is training, he's meditating, that's a form of training. Goku knows that, Vegeta knows that. Now we have a descent from two unknown beings up to this point of the story, heading straight for Earth, and we're gonna see exactly who these people are. So that is completely my bad, because now after reading this page, it is not Gohan who's Super Saiyan 4, but I think that Gohan should be the next one. At least he should have been in the last 3 years. So yeah, Gohan's probably still doing what Gohan does, which is not doing anything. And so it looks like, yeah, Vegeta has been in the gravity chamber training ever since Goku came back. Goku was gone and he came back, and that's probably where he was training on the Supreme Kai's planet against Goku while Goku was in Super Saiyan 4. And yeah, that is probably what ended up happening. And now he's training because he wants to find something more, because Goku's back and he knows that Goku will find that extra thing. And we have, you know, Bola here. She looks exactly the same as she did in Dragon Ball GT, except in Dragon Ball GT she was like, what, 15 or something like that? Definitely 18 now. And then you have Bulma, who, I'll be completely honest, this is the version of Bulma that is not letting the dragon, is not asking the dragon to wish for her remaining vitality or something, or her youth, because she looks like she aged like 20 years or something. She looks old, like she looks way older than Android 18. So unfortunately, this Bulma does not care about what she looks like. I mean, or fortunate, I mean, it doesn't matter, but she's not making those wishes on the dragon to make herself look younger. Definitely not. I like that it seems like Bola has a closer relationship to Vegeta, even like trying to like get him to pay attention to her, because she's the one that brought him a drink. And remember, in the past she didn't really care about martial arts or anything like that, so she seems to have taken an interest a little bit in her father and what her father does. But that's when they feel a rumble, and we already know that's going to be the two pods coming through the air, barreling down toward Earth. Vegeta barely feels it, but to an Earthling, it probably shakes them to their core. It probably feels like an earthquake. I don't know how Vegeta did not hear that, because like that is a massive crater. Those are two massive craters. There's no way he didn't hear that. Like that definitely shook the planet. But out of these craters, out of these sand pods, we get our first character here, and it is a young woman, and she is tiny. Like this is a very small woman. She actually looks, I mean, again, I've done the original one, I've reviewed the original one, so I know who she is, but I'm talking to you guys as if almost like it's my first time seeing her, because she is kind of redesigned a little bit, because this is the updated version, this is the revamped version of this story. So yeah, she looks like almost like a mixture between Android 18 and Gine a little bit, like the original Android 18 outfit, and then just Gine with a little scar on her face. It's kind of what her outfit and her design looks like. I think she looks fine. And out of the next pod, a much larger foe comes out of it, and a much larger presence, and he's asking her if she's picking up anything from her scouter. And this guy is ginormous. I don't know how he fit in the pod himself, but yeah, he's like at least two of these pods on top of each other. That's how tall he is. And this is the original shot that I remember. It is ingrained in my mind from the original Dragon Ball fan manga, where we see you know, these two coming out of their pods, standing next to each other. He's walking toward the camera, looking around. She's explaining that there's a lot of life here, and there are huge readings on the planet, like magnificent readings. They both have their tails. This dude right here is supposed to be Vegeta's brother, if it's still the same story, Vegeta's brother, with a design to me that looks unique as hell for Dragon Ball. Like, it is not something like, yeah, the hair and the face looks like Vegeta's basically, and he's ginormous with a black tail, but it's the clothing. The clothing, I can't like pin it to anything. It doesn't look like a Saiyan's clothing. It doesn't look like a Frieza Force clothing. And so it is definitely its own unique thing. It's skin tight, so it probably like expands with him if he gets bigger or he gets smaller, whatever the case is. But I don't mind his design. I think it's pretty cool. I think that it's almost like a futuristic looking Saiyan, in my opinion. It's apparent here that this guy does not know how to read power levels without the Scouter. And they may only have the one Scouter. So she's the one that's kind of catching everybody's radar around the planet. She's saying there's huge ones on the planet, way bigger than her power, but the biggest one on the planet is actually nearby. And this big one is actually comparable to his power. It's very, very similar. And so she points him in the right direction. It's in that city that we passed with our pods. So we obviously know that this huge power is going to have to be Vegeta. There's no other person that it could be. I'm just wondering how their interactions is going to be and what's changed from the original story. He wants to go and face off against this being, or at least check them out as fast as possible. I mean, they just got there like 2 seconds ago, and the girl's like, no, you should just rest. I mean, it's dangerous to overexert yourself when you just got out of hypersleep. But he's like, nah, I have rested enough. It's time to handle business. It's time to stand on business, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And exactly what that business is it different than before? I don't know. Is it changed slightly? Let's see. And so he takes her hand, and another great shot. I remember this from the original. It's such an iconic shot of him carrying her off because he's obviously going to fly faster. It seems like they are a couple, at least. How that works physically, I mean, I'd like to know, but no, it would be hard because he's like at least 3 of her if she stood on top of her. It's literally Broly and Chilai, essentially, is what it is, at least in terms of sizes. So, yeah, if they're together, I mean, that's great for them. And what kind of Saiyans they are, or if they're Saiyan survivors from Frieza's attack, and what kind of Saiyan this guy is, I'm curious to find out. So I love these type of panels. These are my favorite parts in either the manga or in the anime. I love this stuff. When somebody feels like a massive power level nearby and they start freaking the fuck out, this is like what I live for. This is like, you know, and it goes through all their faces or whatever, and they're all like feeling, that's a massive power surge, or that's a massive power reading kind of thing. Like, yeah, I love that kind of stuff, and they are all feeling like Goten, Piccolo, Pan feels it, Giryu still here, he's in her backpack, he feels it too, Trunks feels it, like, they all feel this power, and it just shows, it's a good indicator as to what kind of being they're actually dealing with, and that's why I like that. Vegeta also feels his power, and his is a little bit more shocked because he thinks that it's Kakarot just because of how massive it is. He is shaking a little bit, but then he's like, no, that's not Kakarot, because he actually can sense powers, and he knows that this is not Kakarot's power. This is something completely different. A new enemy has shown itself on Earth, and it is, as you can tell how worried he is, it's massive. So it just comes out of nowhere, and he knows that, yeah, I need to go handle this because, you know, this is going to get bad. But what makes it worse is that when he's running out of the building, he's like, oh, whoever this is coming straight for us. Remember, they're coming straight for the biggest power level. So, yeah, as he's saying this, they're already there. That's how fast it was. I love this transition. This is such a, like, this shows how fast and how powerful this guy is, where everybody's, like, freaking out about his power level, but at the same time, like, he gets from point A to point B in less than 2 panels. So he's already there before Vegeta can even recognize or clock the fact that he's heading toward him. And the guy says it's been a long time, so that means he knows Vegeta. And again, I believe this is Vegeta's brother. And that is where he says Prince Vegeta, and that is the ending of this chapter. Vegeta faces off against the intruder from a distant world that has invaded planet Earth with his tiny little waifu, and right now it's a little bit difficult to figure out if Vegeta is worried because he recognizes him, because the guy recognizes Vegeta, or because Vegeta has sensed his power level and realizes this is not a small fry. This is somebody that could actually harm the planet and his family. And speaking of his family, they're like, okay, are we seeing double? Because Bulma definitely is going to be the one that is able to tell the similarities between these two characters. Again, they're supposed to be related. But Bola is like, is that a friend of yours? Because they're obviously Saiyans, and he's a Saiyan. But the way that they're staring down at each other is definitely not in any sort of friendly manner whatsoever. And yeah, that's not Daddy's friend, I'm telling you right now. And again, he recognizes Vegeta off the bat. And Vegeta's a little bit surprised because it's like, yeah, you actually know who I am. So, I mean, to me, it could be like, I wouldn't be thinking brother or anything like that unless you're getting like a sense of familial sense from this person. I would be thinking like, this guy knows that I'm Prince Vegeta. Maybe he thinks that I was up to the destruction of planet Earth, or my family was, or something along those lines. But he says that when he heard about the destruction of planet Vegeta, he figured that Vegeta died along with it, which we already know in Dragon Ball Super Broly that he was off-world with Nappa, so he was never in any real danger. But now he knows that destiny has rewarded his faith, knowing that Vegeta was still alive. And so he believes that he was destined to find him, basically, and he's really happy to do so. But Vegeta surprises him by saying, who are you? Like, who are you again? You haven't told me anything. Let me see if I can do it in Vegeta's voice. I don't believe I've made your acquaintance. Yeah, that's about it. Now, Tiny Waifu over here, she's also like, the prince has forgotten about us. He doesn't recollect us at all. Even though that's the case, they still remember him. So they understand who Vegeta is. It looks like whatever Vegeta did, it's definitely like one of the worst things that could be done to these two, because like they are extremely upset to see him here. And he even says he has a debt to pay. And Vegeta responds with, debt? What debt? I don't even know who you are. And so he responds with, we have some unresolved history. And he says, do you remember Planet Palm? Which is something that I don't remember from the original Dragon Ball New Age. So again, this could be a change that this is a remaster, essentially. So this could be a change that we did not see coming for the story. Okay, this is starting to bring it back, actually. The memories are flooding back in because this is part of the story. I remember that this is where, I don't know if the planet was Palm, but what the story is that Rigger, he was the lone child that stood up against Vegeta because they were on a mission. This is Vegeta was doing missions on other planets with other small Saiyan squads, essentially. And he said that there was a subordinate that actually hit you. Do you remember that subordinate that hit you? And as Vegeta is trying to like recollect, because we already know that like Dragon Ball characters barely remember anything that happens in the past, especially characters like, say, Goku. He finally recollects that, you know, Vegeta is the one that struck him back and actually put his boot on his head. And he even recollects that he said that you may have strength, but you have no technique whatsoever. It's almost like this is a different variation, a variety of Broly. It's very similar to Broly in a sense, where Broly has all the brute strength, but no technique whatsoever. But Vegeta kind of like pushes him a little bit more. He digs it deeper. He says that this is where you belong, under my boot, and like shoves his boot right in his face, which is completely disrespectful. And that is when Vegeta finally recollects it. He says, you're that black-tailed brat, which is one of the coolest features. Don't get me wrong, that is one of the coolest features. Design choices, I didn't really talk about that when I first saw his design, but the tail being black, it is different from other Saiyans, because we don't know any other Saiyan that has a black tail, at least not that I can recollect right at this moment. So he does recollect on that, and he says that, yeah, you're the one that I beat up when we were kids. Like, did you come here all the way to settle something that we did in childhood, like because I beat you decades ago? Which it's a little bit strange, because I feel like Vegeta would be the type to be like taking the challenge, like, okay, let's go ahead and fight then. But I feel like he feels the intent of like some real danger, like this guy may take some of his anger against his family or the planet or whatever to the point where, you know, it could be dangerous. So that's kind of like why Vegeta's like not like jumping at the gun to try to fight this guy, which he would have in the past, because he's a family man now. He wants to protect his family, and even if he did like a little childhood fight or a rematch or whatever, it could end into like a lot of destruction. But he says, no, that's part of it, but you have a life debt, you will pay it, which I don't know what that means. And if I remember correctly from the it's got something to do with their parentage. I remember that part from the original. But again, like I only read like maybe 2 or 3 chapters of that original, and I only reviewed like 2 of them. So basically this is kind of like brand new for me. But he says that there's a life debt that Vegeta has to pay, meaning that he's going to have to either take Vegeta's life or somebody of equal, not lesser value. Vegeta has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Like, what are you talking about, life debt? Like, this guy's taking forever to get to the point. They both are, to be honest with you. And he's getting upset because Vegeta does not recollect anything. And I'm assuming that this guy has spent his entire life kind of thinking about this. And this is why it's not good to, like, focus so heavily on the past, at least in a negative way, and just kind of harp on it and let it change every decision that you make in the future, because you will end up like this guy. You will end up just being focused so much on the past and letting it consume you, and letting that resentment and that anger kind of build up inside of you. But at least he's got like a little Chilai to keep him calm, because little Chilai here is like, calm down, you know, and he does calm down. That's kind of why I feel like he's very, very much similar to Broly, and this is his Chilai, which is strange because this came out way before Dragon Ball Super Broly, where there was a Broly, but there was no Chilai. This is like almost the exact same dynamic. So Kira Toriyama, you reading Dragon Ball New Age, huh? Is that where you got the idea for Chilai? I mean, it seems kind of sus. I'm not gonna lie, they both look very similar. But back to the story, he notices Bulma and Bola. I actually love this panel. This might be my favorite panel, my favorite page up to this point, because it is just so, it shows us how much Vegeta has grown, but it also shows the intent of this guy, and like how much, you know, this guy really hates Vegeta and is willing to take something out. So right now he says, is that your family? And so Vegeta realizes now that, you know, where this is going. Basically, if there's a life debt to be paid, you know, they can pay it. And so he says, maybe this will jog your memory, which if he does kill either of them, which I'm assuming this guy can easily kill both of them, then that life debt should be paid, basically. But Vegeta, like, faster than this guy can react or even shoot the beam, which, remember, this guy's so fast. We already kind of measured how fast he was in the last chapter. Vegeta cuts in front of him, says, stop. And he is upset because he's like, no, you will not touch my family. And he's like, protecting others, how unlike you, because this is not the same Vegeta from a childhood. This is a completely different animal, and he loves his family and he will protect them tooth and nail. But then Bulma is like, hey, cutting the tension here, walks right up to the guy and says, I don't know who you think you are, but you don't come to someone's house and threaten them like that. And she goes right up to him. He's not fazed. She goes up to like slap him, like, basically the Beerus thing. I don't remember this being in the original, so I'm pretty sure it's an add-on because of the whole Beerus thing, because Bulma did that back in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. But I would assume that this guy's not just going to slap Bulma back. He's going to, like, you know, completely obliterate her. His shorty's not going to let that happen, because she catches Bulma's arm in midair and she says, touch my husband and I'll kill you. And yeah, she's serious about it, because she could easily kill Bulma. Like, she already is a Saiyan, she's already strong, and lets Bulma go. Bulma doesn't leave anything besides her pride being hurt a little bit. And Vegeta's like, you know what? Let's get this fight. Let's get this action away from my family. Let's get them away from the populated centers here, because these two are not playing around whatsoever. Like, they are here to collect on this life debt that they think Vegeta owes them. Vegeta tells him that there is a deserted area somewhere off in the distance, like there always is. I mean, there always is deserted areas on this planet, and he says that I'll take you there. We'll settle it there, and he agrees to it. And when Bulma and Bola, like, you know, they're worried about him, Vegeta's like, no, don't worry, I'll be okay. And this is like one of the coldest moments in this chapter. Will you? Like, and you can see like the lines drawn, like this, like all the lines drawn on his face, and just how intense he's saying it. Like, you know, like he's like, yeah, you don't know, don't think you can handle me, buddy, because you're not him. You are not him. So all three of them head to wherever, God knows where, and we cut back to the lookout, where obviously Piccolo has sensed this, and with Mr. Popo, they're both looking out. That's their whole point. But he says that they seem to be friends with Vegeta, but not really, though. There's like intense malice and hatred coming from the stranger. But since Vegeta is the next in line to be the strongest on the planet, besides Goku, they shouldn't jump in, because they'll only get in the way. Like, these two are on a completely different level, which I think that Piccolo could take the girl, and if it push came to shove, like, they could use her as a bargaining chip, you know, or something along those lines. They could go for the weak spot. But it seems right now that this is only Vegeta's problem. Vegeta should be the one to handle it. As they fly off, the girl starts saying, like, she was not expecting for him to have a family. Remember, she's gonna be the one that's gonna be thinking about this, like, you know, he even tried to protect them. Like, maybe he's changed. Maybe he's not as bad as we remember. Maybe he's not the bad evil monster that we've blown him up to be in our own lives. But this dude's like, no, it doesn't matter. His sins are etched in history. They're not even like, these sins aren't even just like between me and him. They're etched on the fabric of time. And so he's going to pay for what he's done if that's the last thing he does. So he wants to beat him up or kill him, I'm assuming, probably unaware that there's Dragon Balls nearby, especially with Piccolo being on the planet. Like, I'm wondering how far this story can go, realistically, if it's all one huge battle, because there are several chapters of this. So again, I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like there's going to be an epic struggle here between Vegeta and this dude. They finally land at a spot that looks very similar to the original location where Vegeta and Goku had their first epic battle back in Dragon Ball Z. Looks almost identical to it, but again, they have a lot of like mountains and hills and just deserts on this planet anyway. It's finally time to tee off. It's finally time for them to face each other on somewhat equal playing fields here and see exactly what this story is really about. What is going on here? Why does this guy hate Vegeta so much? Now, before they start, Vegeta says the most sensible thing here that I've heard so far, and he says that before we start this, I need you to tell me your names. I'm not just gonna keep calling you black-tailed brat. He's like, that's probably disrespectful, I don't want to just be calling you that, I want to be on equal playing fields here. And they're both like equally shocked that they want to know that he wants to know their names. I'm assuming it has to do something with their backstory, maybe like he didn't care about their names before, but this is not the same Vegeta. Like, he's an honorable warrior now. He's not like an upstart or a spoiled brat like he was before. Like, he actually cares. He's learned a lot from Goku. So this is kind of how I know that Vegeta has to have some sort of like PTSD, and he probably needs to go to therapy for a lot of the stuff that happened in his early life, because this guy recollects everything to the T, where Vegeta has completely blocked it all out, because Vegeta is the one that was added to his team, saying that like, shouldn't you learn our names before you start the mission? Like, you should learn the names of your squad mates because we're all warriors. And Vegeta was like, psh, why should I? And this is like coming back to him in present day. Like, he's like, no, what are you thinking? Like, what kind of joke are you playing? Like, you didn't give a shit about our names before, now you do? And you can tell he's getting frustrated. He's about to lose his cool like every freaking 10 seconds here, but he's pulling it back. He's trying not to lose it too much, but at the end of the day, like, he can't get past his past, and Vegeta has completely blocked it out. So I love this little line right here, so I'm gonna do it in the Vegeta voice. You would threaten my family in front of me, and then question my veracity? And I mean, that's true. Like, you definitely threaten my family. Like, why are you thinking I'm playing with you? I'm not playing with you. And so he finally realizes that he's for real, and he says that my name is Rigger, which is one I remember. I did not remember the girl's name, and this is Sapari. I love that name. That's a great name for her. Rigger is also a fantastic name. That's probably the name that most people remember from this fan manga. But Sapari, I mean, she's kind of... I want to see more of her. I'm hoping that nothing horrible happens to her. But again, she is with the bad guy. And I feel like her being with the quote-unquote bad guy and being kind of like soft and being like a little bit more gentle, it kind of softens him up a little bit, to be honest with you, and makes me believe that there's gonna be a happy ending at some point between these two. They face off against each other, and then when they're going in their stances, this is the Broly stance. This looks exactly like what Broly, like the way Broly kind of stands to like start a fight. Like, this is not really how Vegeta stands when he starts a fight. Vegeta maybe getting into form, but this is definitely how Broly usually stands. That's kind of like what I got from this. There it is. This is the fighting stance that I was waiting for. Look at Vegeta. Iconic completely. I like Vegeta's outfit, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is basically a addition, or at least I think this might be the same exact outfit from Dragon Ball GT. It looks great on him. And this guy's kind of like more like, he looks a little bit more like Broly in his stance here, so especially the way he widened it. So definitely a really interesting setup for this fight. And it just seems like this, and I remember this is his brother, so this is the fight between two family members. And they're fighting to the death here. At least one of them is. Vegeta gives him fair warning that he is much stronger than the last time he met him. And like, he must know that Rigger has some strength to him, or else he wouldn't be so worried about him. But maybe he thinks that he still has the edge because he hasn't seen what Rigger can do. And Rigger has not seen what Vegeta can transform into. But Rigger cuts him off completely. He's like, last time you were fighting an unskilled child, man. This time I'm going to crush you, because he wants to prove a point that there was nothing that Vegeta could do or transform into to survive this encounter. And so Vegeta takes this as a complete 100% green light. He's like, all right. And you can see like he's in the middle of transforming here. He's like about to transform, because most Saiyans, just like Paragus, would not know anything about the, like, especially like Super Saiyan. They would not know about Super Saiyan, let alone like Super Saiyan 4. So he probably thinks that Rigger is the exact same way. And that's when we get just a quick transformation sequence of Vegeta transforming into Super Saiyan 4. And I can tell where the outfit actually came from, because remember, when Vegeta transformed to Super Saiyan 4, he like changes the way his outfit looks, and I just didn't like the way that was in Dragon Ball GT. But in this, the outfit already is part of him before he transforms, so his shirt just rips off basically. So he always has the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta outfit, which is something that is a nice attention to detail that they added in this. I'm one to appreciate when someone transforms. We get like these poof circles emanating from them, like these little clouds. I love that kind of stuff, guys. And when artwork does it so well and incorporates the boom in the clouds to kind of like flow with them, it's just a chef's kiss. Fantastic work. And Rigger is I don't think he's worried, but he's definitely paying attention. He's like, what the hell? And Sapari can't even look at him. She's like, what the hell is going on? And Vegeta's like, not the first one to react that way, but it is too late for you to surrender. I feel like Vegeta still thinks this is a playing around thing. Like, he's just gonna be like beating this guy into a pulp and like get off my planet kind of thing, you know? That's not the case here. A little shaken, but he says, this is your best. Let me go ahead and show you what I can do. But Sapari is like, nah, don't do anything too brash here. Like, hold on, let's think it through, because this could kill you. This could be it. And he says, no, don't worry. I don't need it, which is great foreshadowing for something horrible about to happen later on. But he says that let me know his power rating first. He wants to match where he's at, which I hope there is a believable answer as to why this guy from space would be the same level as a Super Saiyan 4 or higher. I need to know that. That needs to be part of this story. Hopefully it is explained somewhere in the story. Sapari says that he is 20 million Tani. And it says right here, a little note. I love these little notes in mangas. Tani is a unit of energy measurement from Rigger and Sapari's homeworld, Malik. This is from Malik. And so he says 20 million, then he's got the right transformation for him. And as he is harnessing that energy to transform, Vegeta's a little confused, maybe a little bit like interested in what's going on. Piccolo's not having any of it. Look at his face, dude. That's a face about someone who's gonna shit himself. That's definitely not the face of Orange Piccolo. That's the face of Piccolo back in Dragon Ball Z. And transform he does, a huge display. Like, he actually got, where Vegeta got like maybe like less than 2 panels, this dude gets like 3 full pages of his transformation, his initial transformation. He explodes into like black. It looks like an aura of blackness around what I can only assume is yellow. This is like a yellow key wrapped around him, like this explosion of energy. And you see like his eyes have gotten a little bit more black. His eyes could be red for all I know. This could be like a pre-indicator to, if his hair's white, this could be a pre-indicator to like Beast, kind of. I mean, we've had these type of transformations before. Beast, the legendary, Broly's Berserker. Like, these are ones that Saiyans can access, right? And so, I mean, Toriyama, are you reading Dragon Ball New Age? Is that what you're doing? Is that where you're getting your ideas from? Because this one looks a little bit sus here, because this is well before superhero, like well before it. But he transforms and it looks really cool, I think. Just a little sneak peek here. This is the cover art for the next chapter. And yeah, so it's yellow tail, yellow hair, red eyes. Yo, Toriyama's got some explaining to do. That's red eyes right there. Red aura shards everywhere, and it could be like a black and yellow type of aura, which and just like looking at the color of the design here, where it was yellow and black, I like this design a lot better. It looks really cool, like with the outfit and stuff like that. This is a really solid design. All right, so now we are in unknown territory as Vegeta faces off against, well, also in the story, but also as me reading it, because he's facing off against Rigger. He just transformed, brand new transformation. This thing is completely different than anything that we've seen so far, but at the same time, like, I have not seen anything past this now. This is like the extent of my knowledge for Dragon Ball New Age, so everything here is going to be new, brand new. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I think I was told that this is Vegeta's brother. I think that's what it was from the past, or I've seen it before. So I know this is Vegeta's brother. I just don't know how and what ended up happening. But Vegeta is looking at this. Just the setup of this panel is gorgeous. The background, the swirliness. I love the fact that Malik uses these swirly lines for like just pressure, basically, and just a sense of ominous. And then I love that the explanation sound effects, the ones that are coming off these transformations, they flow with the scene. Like, look at the burr go up into the corner, like it's flowing between these two guys. This is like masterful setup when it comes to panels, and in my opinion, like, this is better than sometimes what Toyotaro does. Toyotaro does these things and it almost looks like he just throws them together in the most boring way possible, but this is really cool. So here's Vegeta cementing the fact that Toriyama has read Dragon Ball New Age, and that's where he got the idea for Beast Gohan, because the design, I showed you guys the design, like here, if you haven't seen the design, it's right here, for Super Saiyan, whatever this is. And the design looks very similar to Beast Gohan. And so Vegeta even says this is a red aura, it's stronger, it looks like a Super Saiyan, but it has red eyes and red aura. Like, what the hell is this? I don't know. What is this, Vegeta? Tell me. You tell me. This guy attacks Vegeta in such a small amount of time with so much force. You know for a fact, especially this guy has been thinking about this conflict for this long. He's been waiting on what move, he's been thinking about what move he's going to use on Vegeta as soon as he sees him. Like, as soon as I get your ass, this is exactly what I'm going to do. And yeah, the first move he's doing is he's going to attack Vegeta before Vegeta can even like do anything. And it looks like it's going to be like a punch direct down right into his top of his skull basically. And yeah, he's moving fast. Like, look at these action lines, like they're so dramatic because of how fast he's moving. So fast, in fact, that yeah, Vegeta barely was able to dodge it. He does, but the punch hits the ground, and a masterful, not only a masterful scene set up, as I've already said, like just look at like the impact and the and just the action words and everything. Like, it just flows so well. But like, this attack is so strong. Like, look what it does to the ground. Like, the impact itself looks like a beam came from his fist and exploded the area around him, or that could be part of the attack. Vegeta tries to get a nice little cheeky hook with his knee into his face, but he catches it relatively easily and just kind of throws Vegeta away. And then at that point, they start duking it out in just a classic, I mean, we need this panel, we need a panel like this in something like this, because now they're just duking out in the classic style, fighting each other, trying to you know, get one over on each other. And it looks like, just from sweat from Vegeta's face, that Vegeta's having a more difficult time facing this opponent than Rigor is. And the explosions, unfortunately for Sapari, are way too much for her to handle. Like, she can't see what's going on, not because, like, you know, they're moving too fast, which they are, but it's also because of all the smoke and destruction, which is probably the most believable aspect of this, is that if you were like watching even like low level DBZ fighting, like, you know, and they were fighting out in somewhere in the woods, it would be so much dust and debris, you wouldn't be, unless you had glasses or a helmet or something, you really wouldn't be able to see what the hell is going on. And that's kind of like what I like about this. It keeps it real. Vegeta says something that he probably should not be saying right now because they just started the fight, but he goes, "What are you?" And this guy says judgment and throws Vegeta again. And I mean, the one-liners coming from Rigor in this manga is just, it's just such a great addition to this character, where he is literally have been thinking about this his entire life, and so he definitely has been thinking about these one-liners at least against Vegeta his entire adult life, or his entire childhood, depending on when the horrible event happened. But Vegeta has no idea what the hell this guy's talking about. Like, judgment for what? What the hell did I do to you? Like, I have no idea, no recollection. I don't go to therapy, I don't do nothing. And this guy's like, stop playing dumb, you know what I'm talking about. And again, he starts blowing past Vegeta's attack. Vegeta is literally shooting just a barrage of ki blasts at him, and this dude's flying through all of them. You see them exploding. He's flying. That's how fast he's catching up to Vegeta, that they don't have a lot of breath when it comes to their shots, because they're it's right in front of him. Like, this guy's literally right in front of him. But Rigor is done playing games. He's literally just dodging these things, going around them, not really like letting them affect them whatsoever, honestly. And then when he pops up right on top of Vegeta, he just swats him to the ground. Like, he literally is bringing Vegeta back to school. Like, Vegeta really is at a complete loss, especially in speed. Maybe not so much in strength right now, because the guy really hasn't been showing how much strength he's got, but he definitely has Vegeta on speed right now. Especially for a big bulky guy, this is like a huge feat. Like, this is not something easy for him to do. And so as soon as Vegeta lands, like, he's very quick on it. He turns around and shoots a beam directly into this dude's face, and you can see like the beam is hurtling straight into Rigor, as Rigor is flying at Mach speed trying to get to Vegeta before the beam goes up. But I'm assuming he's gonna swat the shit away too. After this explosion, he doesn't swat it away, obviously. He like swoofs as the action word here is, swoofs right through it. Like, he just kind of like took it. He's like, whatever. Like, you're not strong enough. So this guy is stronger at this level right here than Super Saiyan 4. 110%. Because there's no way Vegeta's not using everything he's got against him. He swings at Vegeta, who narrowly misses, stops himself in mid, I guess, dodge, and comes back in at full power right into Rigger's face at Rigger's shock, because Rigger was surprised that Vegeta even dodged the first thing, so he's probably like not expecting Vegeta to come back with a side hook into his face, which is exactly what happens. Vegeta gets him. He finally gets him. This is actually pretty satisfying to see, especially after everything we just saw, where, you know, basically Rigger's playing with Vegeta at this point, but he gets him once, he gets him twice. Like, yeah, he at Super Saiyan 4, he can damage Rigger at this level, but remember, Rigger has either one more transformation or one more power-up left that could actually kill him. So, you know, this is not, there's more to Rigger than just this. and when Vegeta goes back in, trying to get him again, this time an uppercut, which, you know, in theory, it could knock him out, Rigger catches it, and Vegeta's like, oh. And then he gets punched in the face because Rigger's still holding on. As you guys can see on the bottom, he's still holding on to his fist. That's how fast it went. So Vegeta really can't dodge when Rigger's holding right onto him. Like, he really actually has a hold of him, and he gets a nice hit on Vegeta right in his face, right in his dome. And then he backhands Vegeta like, get off me. Get off me, I'm on you. Backhands him all the way, and he goes pop, 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 right into the distance. And Vegeta's like now, you know, struggling a little bit, with a little shame, and Rigger kind of digs in a little bit more. He's like, you hit harder when we were kids, which is another great line. He's been thinking about that one for a while. He thought about this one when Vegeta had his boot on his face. That's when he was thinking about this one. And Vegeta lashes out at him like, is this a game to you? And he says, no, by all means, I told you, give me everything you've got, because I want you to know, as I said before, that nothing you do for your survival would have mattered in this situation, which is such a cold, not only a cold line, but a cold way to think about it. Like, what if you told that to your, like, nemesis, like, just give me everything you got, because when I kill you, which I will, you know, I want you to know that you couldn't have done anything to prevent it, so that way you have peace of mind that you did everything you could. It's like almost giving them a kindness. And I mean, Vegeta doesn't see it that way, obviously, because right now he's going in with, I don't know, that one attack, the really cool one from Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. I remember in the Budokai games, Final Shine, or whatever it's called, Final Shine Attack, I believe it's called. It was really cool, so maybe that's the one he's going to use. Oh shit, yeah, this is it, this is it. He charges it up just like, you know, he would in the game, or he would in the anime, and he strikes him. Final Shine Attack. One of my favorite attacks, to be honest with you. Very underrated attack, but a really cool one from Vegeta. It's almost like he mixed Gallic Gun with like Big Bang Attack kind of in this instance, and did it one-handed. It's a really cool attack. I loved using it in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 all the freaking time, and yeah, I can't wait for Budokai Tenkaichi 4 for it to come back. But in the utmost disrespectful fashion, and this has not surprised me from a character like Rigger, he kicks it. Literally like a football, he kicks it. He kicks that shit like a kickball up into space, like it's like not even like a problem for him. Though, as you see him freaking out here, as you see him powering up, he has to power up to do this. He couldn't have just done that without adding any extra force to it, or reinforcing his own ki, or becoming stronger in the short term. He couldn't have done it without it. He had to do that to be able to kick it up. But kicking your opponent's attack is nasty business, man. That is nasty business. That is standing on business and kicking business to the side. And as soon as he kicks that attack, it's game over. Everyone knows it's over. It's just done. There's nothing else that can be done. Vegeta's like stupefied now that his ringer of an attack, the one attack that he had that could actually hurt him, got kicked into space, like just completely yeeted. And so, you know, he's surprised about that. And Piccolo and Popo start freaking out, like, go get Goku, go get Goku. They start sounding the Goku alarm to go get Goku, which is awesome. And so yeah, it's over for Vegeta. Vegeta really doesn't have anything else besides this. Like, there's nothing else Vegeta could do against Rigger that's not his best move. And literally everybody feels Vegeta's disgrace here. Trunks can feel his father's disgrace. Goten's not even paying attention to the movie. He's like, what the hell is going on? Next, this girl whose name we don't know yet, who doesn't know anything about movie theaters or how to conduct herself in one or how to dress up for one. But yeah, they're both like, oh yeah, Vegeta's cooked. He's definitely cooked. And Vegeta also knows that he's cooked. He's Thanksgiving turkey right here. He's completely served up to Rigger. He can't do anything against Rigger. But the one little addition I like to this this scene right here, even though, you know, Rigger's asking Vegeta how does it feel, is that you can see like the marks, the marks on his cheeks where he did get punched by Vegeta. So Vegeta did a little bit of damage to Rigger, but like in the long term, it's like how much damage could he actually, you know, could he actually do if he just kept fighting? But if Rigger says, how does it feel to face a future you cannot change, a fate you cannot outrun? Which is exactly what is going to end up happening here, where Rigger is going to kill Vegeta, which I'm sure Vegeta at this point, if he does lose to Rigger, he would give his life to Rigger as long as he doesn't hurt the planet, because Vegeta could get wished back by one of the Dragon Balls. Something can wish him back. And of course, Rigger's gotta, you know, he's gotta push it in, push the knife slowly in there. How does it feel to know that for all your touted might, that you are completely and utterly powerless? Such a great one-liner guy. One of the best, I think. Rigger says that he has spent his entire life with the weight of not being powerless and not being able to really move on from, and basically haunted. He says this is haunted, which is a huge word, by Vegeta's cruelty about what Vegeta has done, to the point where he can't even sleep. He doesn't remember the last time that he could sleep throughout the entire night. Like, this dude, whatever Vegeta did to this dude, like, at this point now, I'm kind of rooting for Rigger, because he must have done something horrible. And Sapari knows all about it. Like, look at her. She's like, she's worried about him. And she knows how hard this is on him. At this point now, Vegeta's, like, kind of trying to understand where Rigger's coming from. And you can see, like, the light bulb turns on in his head. And he's like, maybe we don't have to fight. Like, what is it? What happened? What did I do to you? And Rigger's still, like, confused why Vegeta doesn't know. And he's like, you keep bringing up why we're fighting, but not telling me during the fight. Like, what happened to you? If it's not what happened on planet Palm, then why do you hate me like that? Like, why do you hate me so badly? It's not like I killed your loved one, because Sapari's right there. Like, why do you hate me so much? Which it has to be that he killed somebody. And I think that if they're brothers, I think it's something to do with, like, I'm assuming it's the mom. I think it's the mom, because it's sounding familiar now. Rigger now is finally realizing that Vegeta really does not remember, like, at all what happened. And so as he's looking at Rigger's looking at his hand, and his hand, you know, goes back to a bloody hand, a much smaller, bloodier hand, because now he's remembering his past. Now he understands. As you can see, little Rigger inside one of the space capsules, he's like, you know, you probably don't remember all the lives you snuffed out in just like a second, like an afterthought. You don't remember these things, but you have to deal with your consequences. This is like literally like the granola arc on steroids right now. Like, you know how the granola arc, Vegeta's dealing with his past, like this is directly connected to him for a Saiyan that he hurt so badly and really did wrong. Why would her death be any different? And we see a female Saiyan here, covered in blood, her armor's cracked, she's completely surrounded, and Vegeta's like, her who? Her who? Rigger says, decades ago I made a promise to a life that you destroyed, and I'm going to keep that promise. And I love the image on the top here where you see like the shadow on the back of his hand, almost showing that, you know, the blood that was on the other side from when he was recollecting what happened when he was a child. So again, just masterful work here when it comes to the Dragon Ball fan manga. And we see here the image of the female Saiyan. It says the next chapter is past sins. We're going to get into what happened with the past and where we can go from there, basically. But yeah, I don't think there's any way out unless Goku comes down and talks to Rigger. That's the only way. Like, hey, Goku goes to bat for Rigger, being like, no, he's a good guy. Don't worry. He's great. Like, he's awesome. Or they use the Dragon Balls maybe to wish this girl back. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's Dragon Ball fan manga, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. This is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.